Hey YouTube, it's Adrian. Just before we get you to this video, do me a favor and head over to pageantlaunch.com. We are starting the world's first dedicated pageant review site, and I would love for you to join our launch team. All you need to do is put in your email address. It's completely free. We are looking to make a pageant industry that is safe, transparent, and fair. I know it's like that most of the time, but over the last year, it's become very evident that it's not like that all of the time. So head over to pageantlaunch.com, put in your email address, and let's get you to this.
Hello everyone, my name is Evanjelin Elchmanar. I'm a Miss International UK 2020 finalist, and this is my interview with the Pageant Project.
Morning everyone, and I'm saying good morning because I know over the UK it is what, it's like 8 a.m. for you, and for poor old Evanjelin Elchmanar. Well, Evangeline, welcome to the show. First off, do you want to tell everyone what time it is for you and where you are?
Well, it's currently 3 a.m. in the morning in Toronto, Canada, and I'm bright and early and ready to do my interview with the Pageant Project. You know, I can't miss this opportunity. And when I got the reminder, I was like, oh my goodness, but you know what? I'm just going to go with the flow.
Just for the record, if you ever book in for an interview with me and you screw up something fierce, like it's 3 a.m. rather than 3 p.m., I'm all right with you rescheduling. So I don't know where to start. Definitely, there's a lot of records. There's records for longest interview. There's records for most views. This has to be a record for the weirdest time for my... I mean, for me, it's very civilized, so I quite appreciate it. It's 5 p.m. So normally I have to be up at 5 a.m.
I'm quite used to like the time difference in like communicating with the UK, because it's 5 hours ahead. So it's not that bad.
I do almost exclusively UK interviews, so I know how you feel. Why don't we start, Evie, with your pageant history and your pageant background? So what got you in pageantry, and what sort of pageants have you done up to this point?
So what really got me into pageantry is, well, my mum's friend kind of introduced me to it. So I've always been competitive. Like I was always into sports and competitive dancing. And so growing up, I wasn't really confident in myself. So she thought it would be a great opportunity to make friends and just have that experience of meeting new girls from all around the country. And so I started my pageant journey in 2014, and I competed in Miss Inspiration UK, and I actually met Megan G there. So I still remember her from then. And so you can say that I caught the pageant bug. And in the same year, I competed in Miss Junior Teen Great Britain, which was my first Pageant Girl UK pageant. And then I placed second runner-up. So that was like a huge deal for me, because I didn't really think I would place that high in my second pageant. So in my first pageant, I did place top 10. Mm-hmm. So then straight after my first try at Miss Junior Teen Great Britain, I thought, why not try again? So I went back the next year and I came first runner-up. So that was great.
That's progress.
And it's progress. And then I thought I would take a year out because I was transitioning into Miss Teen Great Britain. And so I thought I might take a step back. But then I met, I got a motivational pageant friend that always gives me words of advice, and she told me to just go for it. And so that's what I did. And then I eventually won. So I won Miss Teen Great Britain in Miss 2017 and 18.
Yeah. And
that was definitely a dream come true. Like over the years, it definitely was worthwhile.
Yeah. Amber Louise Flanders, I don't know, Evie, if you can see the comments in the bottom right. She's asked how many coffees. I mean, for me, I had one this morning. Are you surviving on coffees, or you're not a coffee person?
I'm not a coffee person. I'm more of a ginger tea person. Herbal tea, chamomile tea.
Ginger tea, and you're up at 3 in the morning. Bless.
Really.
With Miss Teen GB, so I forget the order. Who was your predecessor, and who did you hand over to?
I handed over to Imogen Chapman.
Right, right. And who handed
and
over to you?
Ashley Wild crowned me, and it was when I won. They used to do World Teen Supermodel and Miss Teen Great Britain. So Molly May and Ashley Wild crowned me. So that was like a huge deal. Definitely for a 16-year-old me.
Yeah, I can imagine. And so after you had the Miss Teen GB crown, have you done any other pageants up until now? Obviously, you're in Miss International UK 2020 as a finalist. Have you had a bit of a break in between those two?
So during my reign, we have 1 year to do appearances and use our titles. Well, I was the current Miss Teen Great Britain, so I went around doing appearances. I went to Florida to judge the Junior and Little Miss Galaxy Internationals. And then after then, I knew that I wanted to compete in the UK Power Pageant because it was the first pageant I ever watched as not as a competitor. And so I always knew that I always wanted to compete in the UK Power Pageant, and that's what I did. So last year I competed and I placed in the top 8. And, you know, I'm here to try again. I'm always determined to go for it. And so I decided to compete again, and now I'm doing Miss International UK.
So last year when you competed in the Power Pageant, was that your first time competing as a Miss?
Oh, yes. So it was definitely I was a little nervous, but, you know, it was my first time competing in Miss Teen when I won. So, you know, I thought, why not just go for it? And it's definitely an experience as well. And I definitely enjoyed it. And that's why I'm here again.
Of course. How did you feel because you already talked us through the jump from junior teen to teen within Teen GB and now Miss. So how have you found those division jumps? Have you found them pretty easy to take in your stride? Did you find one harder than the other?
So definitely in the pageant girl UK industry, they see you flourish. So they've seen me since I was a junior to teen. So then I wanted to show them that I can be a Miss. And so I felt like it was quite difficult to show that I can achieve that, but here I am achieving that.
Have you made any sort of adjustments to, I don't know, anything like how you interview or how you walk or even the fashion choices you've made? Because from what I've heard, that's one of the things is teens, obviously, and junior teens in particular, when you are going through that, your fun fashion, you know, it looks very young, looks very fun. And then as you go into the Miss, you want to look a bit more sophisticated. So have you made any changes to how you're approaching this pageant as a Miss versus a teen versus a junior teen?
Oh, definitely. So in Miss, we do bikini, and I've never competed in the Galaxy division, so I never did the bikini round. And the UK Power Pageant and Miss International, there's no fashion wear, which is quite sad. But you know how we love our fashion wear.
I know.
And so I definitely have been working on my stage appearance because most of the points come from stage. So it's 20% interview. But with interview, I really just think that as long as you're being yourself and you're being your authentic self, then that's okay. And so definitely during this time, I've been planning my outfits and making sure they look okay and I feel comfortable in them and I'm comfortable walking on stage and being myself. I think that's the most important thing.
I agree. I hope your outfits look better than okay.
Oh yeah.
Do you want to give anyone any hints or tips as to?
Sorry, I just lost my AirPod.
That's all right. They always fall out of my ears. I hate them. I have them. They're so expensive, and they never say.
I hate them too.
What? I don't know why we have them.
I don't know why I
hate
wear them. Why?
But Do you want to give anyone tips as to what you're going to wear? I know it's a very closely guarded secret, so you don't have to.
Oh no,
But
I don't mind sharing. I really want to share. I'm that kind of person. I like to get other
okay.
people's opinions.
So
I
what
don't
can
want
you
to say
share
too
about
much.
your yeah, don't spoil it, but what can you share about your wardrobe choices so far?
Definitely for interview. A lot of people know me for my love for vintage clothing. So I like to always step out of my comfort zone. I like to stand out and feel confident in myself. And I've always loved vintage fashion because it's always timeless and there's always a story
Yeah.
behind it. And I love thrifting. And so I really wanted to show that side of me. So I'm definitely going to wear a unique vintage piece for my interview
Ooh.
because I feel the most confident in vintage clothing. And bikini, I was thinking of reusing my bikini
Mhm.
and just switching up and maybe DIYing it. Just to show the sustainability, you can always reuse your pageant wardrobe. I know
Yeah.
many of us have
Yeah.
a Nile of rows and rows
Yeah.
of dresses that we just keep. And I'm definitely one of those people that are very sentimental and I have a hard time letting go of dresses. But once I do, it's okay. Then I find a new dress and it's my new love, so it's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It can be difficult, I guess. It'd be like selling your children.
Oh yeah.
So, but I mean, I know a lot of girls probably have a few too many dresses, and there's no and bikinis and whatnot. There's no problem with reusing, and if it's what makes you comfortable, then go for it. You can see Kat Simpson has left a comment. Evangeline, best of luck with international. Would love to see you as Miss Universe GB one day. Great speaker, intelligent and stunning, force to be reckoned with. X. Well, there you go.
Oh
You
my
have your
god, I
path
love
mapped
you.
out for you already.
I'm just so happy
Uh,
people are actually tuning in. I was quite
well,
worried about being awake at 3 a.m.
if you missed the beginning, guys, it's 3 a.m. for Evangeline because she said it and she thought it was 3 p.m. It's 3 a.m. For me, it's 5 p.m. It's very civilized for me. And just Kat sent me, I think you sent me a message about interviewing. Yes, Kat, you can book in. It's fine. I just haven't had time to. Kat want to do an interview as well. I haven't had time to respond yet. Amber Louisa said, morning, Nat. How many coffees? Again. Oh, for Kat. All right. Shaz has said, I wish you the best of luck, Evangeline, and I can't wait to come and show my support.
Oh, thank you.
And she's put question marks. It's probably going to be exclamation marks. It's very early in the UK, so they're not quite awake yet. On that note, Evangeline, why don't you tell us what you're doing over in Canada? Because you said obviously you're coming back to compete. What are you doing over in Canada at the moment?
So in Canada, I'm currently studying acting. So I'm
Oh, wow.
studying at Toronto Acting Academy. And it's always been a dream of mine. And I feel like um, this was the right time for me to kind of flourish into a young, independent woman and, go for my dreams. And so, I took the leap of faith. I moved to Toronto and, I'm loving it so far. I've met so many amazing people and they've definitely um, taught me so much. And in each class, I feel like it's definitely not just in acting, but it's like in life. They've taught
Yeah.
me how to deal with experiences and like learn about myself. And during the process, it's kind of helped me through my journey in pageantry as well. I've met my sponsors here in Canada, my dress sponsors, and they're literally my soulmates. And I'm just so happy that I found so many inspirational people that that leave a positive mark in my life and like help me move forward. And yeah, I'm doing acting here, and so far I'm loving it. Though it's quarantine time,
That's
I
what
know
I
it's
was
going
going
to
to
get better.
ask.
And so
How is the
yeah.
quarantine and the lockdown? Well, I guess what's the lockdown situation like in Canada? Obviously, the UK is pretty much completely locked down. Here in Australia, it's the same. What's the situation in Canada, and how has it affected you?
So in Canada, the lockdown happened earlier, so it was 2 weeks
Right.
before the UK went into lockdown. But I know back in the UK it's quite severe. Like there's been many cases of COVID-19, and thankfully where I am, I'm in a place where I'm surrounded by nature, so it's not quite.
You're not surrounded by lots of people.
Yes, I'm not surrounded by lots of people, and so it's too early in the morning for me.
Too late at night, I think, for you.
So far, like, we're just hoping for the best, really, and hopefully everything moves on swiftly and we can all go back into our everyday lives. But during quarantine, I've been using my time. I've been using my creative ability and keeping myself occupied, and that's great. Like to have all the time in the world. So we have to make this time a positive and use this time wisely, I think. So use this time as an opportunity, and do the things you've always been putting aside.
Absolutely. On the subject of Canada, I have spent some time in Canada, so 2 questions. First off, how is your Canadian accent? And secondly, what do you think of maple syrup?
Oh, well, maple syrup was a bit of a disappointment, I've got to say.
You can't say that in Canada.
I remember the first time I came to Canada in 2018, I bought this lollipop that was the shape of the maple leaf. And so I kept it for like a year, and I thought I'll just keep it as a souvenir. But one day I just got hungry back in the UK, and I just needed a snack. And so I opened it and I tried it, and it was disgusting. I don't understand. Maybe it was the lollipop, but maybe I have to give it another go.
I don't know.
No, I don't like it. I was just thinking about maybe. I remember having the dessert, but that's with the pastry, so it was okay then. But the lollipop just, no.
Have you tried poutine, the French fries? Poutine. Yeah, everyone says it differently, whether you're from the English speaking or the French speaking.
Apparently,
have you tried that?
It's not a Canadian delicacy. It's from France.
It's the Canadian French. It's the French Canadians who love it. Yeah, exactly. The Quebecois. And that is just, that's French fries. If you don't know watching at home, it's French fries, and on top it's got this curd cheese. And it's great, and it's you eat that and you just feel like you're going to die, not in a good way. You just feel like you're about to have a heart attack.
It is sickening. I think when I first came, I did eat a lot.
Yeah,
I'm definitely living the food here.
It's not so. Any Canadian food that you do like? So we discussed that the maple syrup lolly you found disgusting. Anything else that's a bit more to your taste?
Oh, but my friends that know me, they know that I love Tim Hortons. Mm-hmm. So back home in England, where I live, they did recently they opened a Tim Hortons a year ago, and the Tim Hortons here is like the Starbucks. I don't know if you have Tim Hortons in Australia.
No,
but
I've heard about it.
It's like my coffee.
Oh, but you don't drink coffee. So what do you have from? You have your tea.
I don't like strong coffee.
You have one of those drinks, is it? That's like this tall. It's like that much coffee, and the rest is, I don't know, like whipped cream and milk. Sugar.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh my god, the cream's like the best here. I actually asked once in drive-through just a cup of cream. It was like the texture of marshmallow fluff, but then the flavor was just like cream, and you could just hold the cup upside down, and it was just the best thing ever.
You're in Canada. You said you love the cream. You hate the maple syrup. Oh dear. Well, maybe the cream's completely different. I don't know. Shaz Miller has asked, any advice for anyone who is new to the pageant world?
I think if you're thinking about entering a UK pageant, if you're in the UK, I'm sure you are, I highly recommend you compete in the Pageant Girl UK system. I think that Holly Perry's pageants are really one of the best out there, and it gives you an opportunity to make new friends. And I think really go into these pageants as an opportunity to really gain self-confidence, because that was one of the things that I gained, definitely, self-confidence in myself, and it's given me a voice. So I've always been doing charity and raising awareness for numerous friends ever since I was 6 years old. So I was a professional dancer, and so I would travel all around the country and raise awareness for all these different causes. And so I think really find a platform that you really care about, maybe, and bring that forward into the pageant that you're thinking about competing in.
And Shaz, I'm sure you've seen, and everyone else watching, I'm sure you've seen that Holly will be my 100th interview. That's going to be next week sometime. I mean, I did have Holly booked in probably 3 or 4 months ago, and she had to cancel because she had to work somewhere unexpectedly. But that's been a long time coming, and I mean, I would tune in. It just felt appropriate. I mean, I've interviewed so many of the UK girls, and it's almost all of them, even if they're not competing at the moment in one of Holly's systems, have at some point competed in one of Holly's systems. And I think that one woman might be responsible for a lot of the good in UK pageantry that I've seen, just by herself. Evangeline, I probably should have asked this at the very beginning. Can you tell us where your name comes from? Because first off, it's very long. Secondly, it's very difficult to spell. And thirdly, obviously, it's quite unusual. So where does the name come from?
So first of all, Evangeline is not actually my first name.
Oh, God.
So Francia,
okay.
I was born on paper. I am still Francia. So my first name is Francia Evangeline. Elchmanar is my last name, and I'll come back to Elchmanar. But Francia comes from, so I was born in France, and I was the first baby to be born on Christmas Day in 2000. So the doctors wanted to name, if it was a boy, they'll call him Francis, and if it was a girl, they'll call her Francia. And so it was me. And so it didn't have to be my first name, but I don't know, it was my first name. But then ever since I started nursery, I don't know how it came about calling myself Evangeline, but ever since I started education, Evangeline was always my first name. But on paper, on my passport, it's Francia. So every time, I think when I first competed in Miss Teen Inspiration UK, they called me Francia, because I didn't know what name to put. Every time I do any important document, I always get confused whether or not I should put Francia or Evangeline. I don't know if I should illegally change my name. I don't know, but I'm just going with the flow. I'm still here. Nothing's happened.
I guess it doesn't matter too much in pageantry, but I mean, if someone yells out Francia, will you turn around and look, or will you just kind of walk away because you didn't know they were talking to you?
So actually, Kevin Samlin used to call me Francia. And I just told him, just call me Evangeline. It's fine. But it does alert me. Like, if anyone calls me Francia, I'd be like, oh, who's that? Because I'm so used to being called Evangeline. But my home name is Vina. So my mom said she never had the opportunity to give me a name because my uncle called me Evangeline, and then the doctors called me Francia, and I got my last name from my dad. And so she was like, I need to, give you a nickname. So my nickname was Vina. So my home name, or my friends, if they want to get my attention, they'll call me Vina. And that will just get my attention straight away. If I'm distracted by clothes, they'll be like, Evangeline, no, Vina. And then,
Vina,
I know that I have to, And Elchmanar.
The surname.
So actually, my family is the only family to have Elchmanar as their last name in the whole world. So even if you go on Facebook, you'll just find our family. And
wow.
And
that's
so,
unusual.
Even my immediate family as well. So not my cousins; they've got their own last names, but it's just my family, my immediate family that has Elchmanar, and I think that's pretty cool.
It is. I don't think I don't think there's any other name probably that you could say that you have the only one in the world. I mean, no matter how rare the name is, it's probably going to be someone who has it. So literally, you are the Elchmanars. There are no others.
We're the Elchmanars. Yeah.
This sounds like a bloodline that you have to protect. That's amazing.
Oh, you definitely
Okay. So, outside of the pageant world, I mean, you talked a little bit about obviously you were a professional dancer, or are you still doing that, or that's in the past now, the dancing?
Actually, I recently got back into it. I don't know, ever since I moved to Toronto, I've just been reconnecting with all my hobbies that I've been doing throughout my life. And just today, actually, due to quarantine, I was meant to do a music video with my dance group. But unfortunately, we had to postpone. But then we decided to do a group show. So I've been doing my segment, and we're gonna like add them all together and post it on social media. So in a way, we're still doing our dance routine, but in a different way. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And
I thought for a second you were going to say you were doing TikToks, because that's what everyone in the UK is doing, because they're all going bonkers indoors. You tried, it didn't work out for you? It's
such hard work, honestly. Every time I try to do it, I don't really know how it functions. I'm I'm not very good in the electric or in any mechanical
technology
side of things.
Yeah.
Technology, nope. So every time I did a TikTok, it would always delete. So I just got fed up. I was like, right, whatever, just leave it to the side. But the Miss International girls were thinking of doing the Don't Rush challenge. Have you seen it on social media, where the girls do the before and after of them undressed, and then they'll put their brush in the camera, and then
I've seen.
All of a sudden dressed up. So I'm looking forward to doing that. And also during this time, I've definitely got many opportunities. So I've been modeling as well, and I got the chance to do a music video with Drake and Lil Yachty.
Oh wow!
That was a pretty cool thing. So I recently signed with my modeling agency, and just a week, I think 2 weeks after I got to Toronto, they messaged me last minute. So I was at my Muay Thai session, and then at 8 p.m. I just get this message of, hi, are you free tomorrow? And I didn't know who it was for, and so I thought, this looks a little dodgy, but then I just went anyway, so why not? And then they just said, you're doing a music video with Drake and Lil Yachty, and I was just like, come again? And so it was really surreal, because I got to meet him. I love his music, and so it was like really nice to see him in person as well, and just be in the atmosphere, and definitely meeting girls from all over Toronto. So it was a great experience meeting people from Canada, and they were surprised to see me, obviously a girl from England.
Yeah, you don't sound Canadian yet.
Oh no.
That's interesting. So you got a message, but they didn't tell you what it was for.
They said it was called Project X.
Yeah, I've heard about similar things in showbiz, because if they tell you what it's for, then there's a danger that you tell all your friends, and then all your friends swamp.
I would 100% do that anyway, so they were right to do that.
Yeah, see, that's why they don't tell you what it's for. So they were right to do that in this case.
We weren't allowed. Okay. I started at 10 a.m. in the morning and finished at 2 a.m. So it was a long day. Wow.
I mean, still not as late as you're up now for this interview, but that still is a long day.
Do you know, I feel wide awake at this point, I think if maybe 3 p.m. I would have been tired, because that's usually my power nap time.
Well, so everyone sleep schedules. Well, I mean, it's fine for me. 5 p.m. It's like great. I don't have to wake up at 5 a.m. But 3 a.m., as I said, that's a first. Evangeline, going into Miss International, do you have any sort of expectations for yourself, or any sort of goals, or are your goals more to go over there, obviously to get there in the first place with everything that's been going on, and then do your best? Which way do you tend to go? Do your best, or do you have a results goal in mind?
Well, first of all, hopefully I can make it during quarantine.
Yeah.
You know, I'm hoping to get back to England in the middle of May. And, you know, Miss International is a dream of mine. So I think I should go for it. And it's a goal that I'm willing to put all my effort and hard work into. And I've definitely been preparing more. Usually in my past pageants, I kind of just went with the flow. I'm kind of like a spiritual person. I'll just go with it and see whatever happens, happens. But I think at this point, I've worked with so many amazing people. I've worked with Grace, that coaches Miss Universe. And so she's given me a really good insight on how I can work on myself and progress towards a pageant. And you should really take this seriously. You know, you've got to put all your mind, body, and soul into it, really. And so I've really been focusing on things that I think I can really improve on, because I think everyone can improve in something. And pageantry, I always wanted to give it my all. So I thought, why not, you know, work on my weak points and make them stronger. And so I've definitely been working on my stage presence. And I've been sending videos to my sponsors. They're the best. They always give me tips on how to work with the dress. So I'm very fortunate enough to have those guys in my life. And in interview, I think it's just generally just trying to figure out who I am as a person. I've been writing interview questions to myself. I just want to get to know myself more. And I think that's the best thing you can do. So whenever you get a question about yourself, you know about yourself.
That does help a lot.
Yeah.
You can see Dion John has said, good luck in the final.
Oh, thank you.
Do you get, because you just talked about preparation, do you get nervous at all in the lead up to a pageant, or are you more excited? Are you someone who gets a bit stressed out? Which way do you tend to go with the emotions?
I think I feel all the emotions at different times. You know, you first get the sash, you first get the announcement that you're a finalist, and it's all excitement. And then you think about, oh, okay, now I need to get the dresses, I need to get all the things sorted. So then it's just like stress, but good stress. You know, I love to plan things. I make like so many lists, it's crazy. And then it's just frustrating when I lose the paper. And then I find it a week after, but it's all good. I can just write another one. Yeah.
You put it on paper. Well, you really are a technophobe. You don't put it on the computer. You put it on paper.
Oh, I've deleted so many things on the phone, on the laptop, so I don't trust myself. And so, yes, I handwrite it. I think it's the best. It just goes into my mind straight away. I think I'm thinking more. But if I'm tired, I start to write weird words that I don't understand. So when I read over, it's just a bunch of gibberish. So I've got to make sure I'm awake and then, you know, concentrate, write a list, make sure everything's okay. But
actually,
definitely, I think
you raise an interesting point, because actually it's been proven that when you write things down versus typing something out, it does work very differently with your brain. So if you, for example, you're writing notes in a class setting, maybe for acting, for example, and you write it down, that actually helps you remember it much more so than if you typed it out. So, and I've always found the same. Like, I'm obviously into tech, but there are some times where I don't like being in front of a keyboard. I feel like I need to write it out. I mean, you can see I've got a whiteboard behind me, and there's some times where you just feel like you need to write, and the tech just doesn't. It doesn't seem to have quite the same effect. Shaz has asked, what's the part you are most looking forward to in the finals?
Definitely meeting the girls. We've got on a group chat going on Instagram. So every day we've been checking up on each other, making sure we're okay. And we've been doing FaceTime. So it's been great to know them virtually. And I just can't wait to meet them and give them a hug. And also, I'm excited to show everyone how I've progressed from my last year to now. I really want to prove to myself and everyone that I'm capable, and I just want to give it my all on stage. And I can't wait to wear my dress on stage, because I feel like the dress I'm wearing on the final really truly represents me, and I hope everyone else can see that too.
Nice, nice. Are you planning on spending any sort of extra time in the UK if it goes ahead, or would you have to go straight back to Canada?
So in Canada, I've got some auditions lined up. So where I'm studying, I'm kind of partnered with Netflix, and so that's like a great opportunity for me. And especially during COVID-19, it's kind of postponed things. So I've got to see where everything's aligning. But definitely, I will be back in Toronto. I kind of live both in Canada and in England. I kind of have the love for both. And I think, why not?
Well, in which country has the better food?
Oh, anywhere that has my mom, because I love home food. And she was a chef. So,
Wow, okay.
mom's food is the best. I'm not
Can you give us a
much of
favorite
a
dish?
junk food. Oh,
Give us a favorite dish.
oh my goodness. So today I had biryani.
Mm-hmm.
That's like a really good dish. When we do fundraisers, and we usually cook for the homeless back home in Birmingham, so she can cook like a meal for 300 people in like an hour, and that's fascinating to me. That's crazy.
I've seen some people do that, with particular foods, and I love biryani. I love a good chicken biryani. I don't know what sort of ones you have, but
chicken.
And they can make like whole buckets of it, but it tastes amazing and it smells amazing. You're making me hungry even now just talking about it, because it's almost going to be my dinner time. But I could definitely go a good chicken biryani now. Evangeline, before we go to the final 10 questions, it's shout out time. So is there anyone that you want to give a shout out to, or just say thanks to, for supporting you along your journey?
I definitely want to give a shout out to my mom, of course. She's my number one supporter. She's my momager. She's given me all the opportunities I could ever ask for. If it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be here in Toronto living my dream and competing for Miss Internationals. So that's something I'm very fortunate about. And I made a buddy from Japan. So Asona, she's taught me some Japanese, and I'm very happy that I can finally understand the culture. I've always loved Japan and everything about it. So now I'm during this time of quarantine, I'm definitely taking this time to learn about new cultures and languages. And so, thank you for that.
Can you give us a Japanese phrase?
So for pageant girls, we always ask to go for the toilet. So I could say, sumimasen, toilet wa doko desu ka? Which means, excuse me, where is the toilet?
I don't know Japanese, but that accent sounds pretty good. I can count to 10, but that's about it because of martial arts, because we had to count to 10 in Japanese. But that sounds good. Okay, Evangeline, do you know what the final 10 questions are?
I remember watching. I've been binge watching your interviews, but I haven't really given any thought. I haven't really given any thought to it, so
okay.
We'll see how it goes.
Here's the thing. I haven't told people this for a while, but I divulged it when Chloe Lake interviewed me. The final 10 questions are taken from a TV show called Inside the Actors Studio. And this is literally they get actors such as yourself, young budding actors, and they interview a really major, huge, successful actor like a Robert De Niro, Robert Downey Jr., or Robin Williams.
I think I've watched. I've definitely
watched. And he always, his name is James Lipton, and he always finishes his interviews with the same 10. They're not his. He took it from someone else. But I love watching his stuff, so I just decided I would start ending my interviews with the same questions. So this can be in preparation for your appearance on Inside the Actors Studio, because obviously that's the direction you're going down. So, what is your favorite word?
Oh, I definitely have to say enigmatic. And I say this because, first of all, I remember I was a word child. I used to play the dictionary game. So I would get a dictionary and then I'll flip it and randomly pick a word and learn it. And so that was one of the words. And then when I went back home, I remember watching a TV show, and the kid, he was like a 10-year-old kid, and he was looking over a puzzle, and he was just there like, oh, wow, that's so enigmatic. And I was like, what on earth? Like, what are the odds that a 10-year-old would say enigmatic? So I know it just stuck. And I think everything in the world is enigmatic. Everything's puzzling. And I had a kid come up to me one day actually and say that I was enigmatic. So I don't know if I should take that as a compliment or an insult. He said I was mysterious. So
I think in the definitely in the modeling field, being enigmatic is definitely high praise. Normally the highest models always have that. They describe them as a bit enigmatic. Question 2, what is your least favorite word?
Oh, eventually, because it sounds like Evangeline. And I had this maths teacher. He was from Czechoslovakia, and he would always use Evangeline like maybe 10 or 15 times every class. And so I never knew if he was saying eventually or my name, Evangeline. And so I'd always be alerted. So now, as I go with my life, you know, every time I hear eventually, I always think someone's calling my name. And that kind of bugs me.
That's fair enough.
It's a weird one. It's a weird one.
Next question. In life, what gets you excited? What turns you on?
Okay, this is a weird one. They're all weird. I love the smell of tennis balls.
Okay, so just to clarify, I have been a tennis coach for many, many years. Are you talking about the smell of new tennis balls when you just open them?
You don't understand. So I used to do ball crew for the Aegon Classic for women's, and I was fortunate enough to get the opportunity because I went to a sports college, and so I did that for three consecutive years. And the first year, so as the week went on, you know, they didn't need as many ball crews, and so many people. So some of us would have the opportunity to do the finals. And the first year, I lost the opportunity because I got told off for smelling the tennis balls on court. So this is what I did. So you know the back court, I would literally pretend to like itch my nose. And I remember the tennis player was talking to the umpire and saying, "Excuse me, this young lady is distracting me." And I was like, "Oh." And then, you know, when we have to pass the ball like this, yeah. I'll just like go down my nose and then, you know, go back. We were there for like a good 2 hours just standing there. So, you know, I had to keep myself entertained. And my friends know this because they always buy me tennis balls for Christmas.
Okay.
I just love it. I'll literally watch the movie and like smell tennis balls. It's a weird thing, but you know.
That is weird. What do you remember? Which player it was that got you told off?
I don't know her name. It ended with one of those long Russian names.
They all ended over. It's all something like over.
Mekhanova or something. I don't know. Something like that. Okay. She was very aggressive as well. I was quite scared. I was like, I'm sorry, I'll never do that again. But you know.
Well, she is a Russian tennis player. They're all very, very fierce. I think
she won. But yeah, they were all good players. And from then on, I would never smell tennis balls on the court again.
Okay, well, that certainly is an unusual one. What turns you off?
I think one of my cats purring. I've got this cat called Coda, and he's purring so loud. It's as loud as a motorbike engine, like a motorbike revving. And, you know, he's quite enigmatic. He's kind of an odd cat. He kind of shows up when you least expect it. So maybe 3 a.m. in the morning, he'll just be sitting right next to you and purring as loud as he can be. And that's definitely annoying for me. A turn off.
That
He
does
shows
sound
love,
like,
but
yeah, that's a typical cat though. They like to do things just to annoy you because they can. Question 5: what sound or noise do you love?
I love the sound of books turning, like when you turn a page in a book.
Turn the page.
I don't know. I love the feeling of, or the sound of someone turning a page. Yeah, that's one of the things I look forward to. What else? I love to sing. I love the sound of pianos. I love the sound of music.
That's a good selection there. Definitely turning the page. That's one I haven't heard before, but I know exactly what you're talking about. Well, question 6: what sound or noise do you hate?
Anything that's loud and unexpected, I think. Like an alarm or a clock. So when I pay attention to a clock, you just hear that constant ticking sound, and that kind of annoys me. It feels like it's never going to go away.
Oh, it probably
when you just
won't if
realize
it's a
there's a clock in the room, and then you realize, you just hear the sound, and it just never goes.
And that's all you can hear. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I got it. Question 7: if you could have any one superpower, what would you pick and why?
Oh. I don't want to go with the basic flying or teleportation, but maybe a genie, like someone that can grant wishes, so I can do all of them. I can wish to fly. Very cool. I can wish to teleport.
You'd only get 3 wishes though.
An unlimited genie. Just a wish maker in general. A wish maker in general, if that's a superpower.
The ability to grant wishes. That certainly sounds like a good pick to me.
The ability to grant unlimited wishes.
Question 8: what job or occupation other than your own? So I know it's a bit different for you because you're still young and you're still studying, but what job or occupation other than your own would you most like to attempt? Or what's your dream job?
Well, for me, I think in my lifetime, I want to do multiple jobs. I definitely want to go in the route of acting and start my own business. So I'm currently working on my own fashion business, and unfortunately I was meant to go to Sri Lanka to start my business, but due to COVID-19 we have to postpone that. But definitely start my own fashion business and get into the arts. I want to have my own art gallery, like my own art gallery that anyone can come and visit, and that would be amazing. Or a food critic, an astronaut. I don't know. I'd love to be an astronaut. That would be cool.
You'd love to be a what? What was the last one?
An astronaut. See the world in a different perspective.
An astronaut, right? The internet dropped out for a second. That's a lot of varied occupations. That will keep you busy for a while, painting. I feel.
This is my mural I've been doing. I don't know if you can see it.
We can see a little bit of it. Is it the flowers behind you?
Yes, and I've got like 2 peacocks. It's still in the work in progress. So hopefully I'll get that done. But as an artist, you're never done. You're never finished.
Is this something that you've just been doing to while away the time during isolation?
Yes, so definitely back home in England, I've got a room of all my creative stuff, all my paints. And so being in a different country during this time, I needed to
Yeah.
be free and do something and like get my creativeness out. And so my uncle let me draw on his wall, you know. I don't know how, but he's happy. I don't know. They've never seen my painting, so I'm quite shocked that they let me do it, but I'm so happy how it's turned out. And I can't wait to see the final results. And I'll definitely be posting it on social media for everyone to see the process. And it's definitely been a nice time to just take my time during quarantine and do something that I love.
When do you think you'll be finished with it, or does it continually evolve?
I think it will be done by Sunday, but maybe here and there I'll be like trying to like touch up things here and there throughout the week or month. Who knows?
Sounds about right. Well, what job or occupation would you definitely not like to attempt? Is there anything that you would not like to attempt?
For me, I don't think I'll be cut for any office jobs. I'm definitely not someone that can sit in the chair all day answering phone calls. I like to be out there. And so that will be something along those lines I definitely don't think I'll be able to do. I remember in secondary school, we do work experience. So I did receptionist at a doctor's office.
Mm-hmm.
And I was bored out of my mind, honestly. All I remember was just sitting in the chair, looking out the window, waiting for my time to leave. And
that doesn't surprise me at all. Yeah, given what you said you'd like to do as your job, it doesn't surprise me at all. Final question: if heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Congratulations. Welcome. Are you ready to feast? And your cats are awaiting you.
Hopefully not purring too loudly.
Yes. Definitely a feast. Are you ready to feast? Congratulations.
Yeah, it sounds good to me. You're making me very hungry. All this talk about food is making me starving. Evangeline, look, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
It's been a pleasure. And look, I hope International goes ahead. Everything obviously at this stage is very up in the air. We have no idea when lockdown is going to be lifted, and when it does, whether we're going to be able to travel. But if it goes ahead, best of luck.
Thank you.
I'll keep you on the line for just a sec whilst I hang up with the audience. But I want to thank everyone for watching, tuning in, the likes, and obviously it's very early in the morning for you guys in the UK. And we will speak to you next time. Hey guys, it's Adrian again. If you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe, and remember to head over to pageantlaunch.com and join the launch team for our pageant review site. All you need to do is put in your email address. Thanks, and speak to you next time.